Part 4, Early Recovery from Postpartum Psychosis. Hello again. So we're still in the video series, Living with Postpartum Psychosis and Bipolar Disorder. Today we're talking about early recovery from postpartum psychosis. We're going to be basically looking at what happens when you start to leave the hospital and what happens when you're getting used to the new normal in your life. So, when you leave the hospital, there are lots of people involved and they have different levels of power over your life. Okay, I'll give you the example from what happened to me. The first week, it was even like the first day or two that I went home, that these nurses came to look at me, and my husband and my mum were there, and my mum and I were upstairs with my baby, and she had to go downstairs to open the door to let them in. And so then this nurse who didn't have things in my best interests was saying that I had been left alone upstairs with the baby, which was irresponsible, but it was just to open the door, right? And then apparently I was holding the baby too tightly, and so I got told I had to go back to hospital, just like that. But then my mum and my husband complained and said it was completely ludicrous. Like, I'd just gotten home, and we said, we're not going to see that nurse ever again. No, we refused to see her. And that's what I did. I refused to see this nurse. But she had a fair bit of power to do that. So I don't know what your situation is. I don't know what happens where you live, but shit like that can happen. Yeah? Okay, so who else is there? So you've got there's a family planning nurse, or like a family nurse, who comes, and she might come for a whole year if you're lucky. Maybe not always once a week, but at the beginning she might come once a week, even twice a week. And I had this amazing lady, Melissa, who would come and see me, and she had so much enthusiasm and she had so much patience to listen to me talking about what was happening and everything. It's like a huge privilege to get these people in your help team, in your care plan, in your care team. And so she was one of them. And then you had, forgotten the correct name, but it's like a mental health and family, and even mother's nurse, Mary. I had Mary from the psychiatric team. She was also amazing. And she was really amazing, and she really helped me get through that first year. Because honestly, in that first year, you're just surviving day to day. Every day is really, really hard. It's really, really hard. Okay, and then there was my mum, who stayed for several months. So she'd already stayed several months when I was at hospital, but then she stayed another 2 or 3 months after that when I was at home. Which I was really lucky to have. And it was really, really hard for her because she didn't have many people that she knew, and she felt really isolated. And then after that, when she couldn't stay any longer, I don't think it even exists anymore, but I was so lucky. I had a lady come 7 a.m. till 5 p.m. Monday to Friday for 3 whole months to help me with my baby. Yeah. So then it means that for about 7 to 9 months, I never got to look after my baby by myself. There was always somebody there. Yeah. Okay, and then there's the Child Protection Authority. So what they do is they need to write a report when you get released from hospital saying whether you're fit to be a mother And it's especially helpful if you can say you have family supporting you. If they can see you've got the support around you, they don't have a problem. They don't want to make trouble for you. At least in Australia, they're not there to make trouble for you. They have the baby and you, both of you, your interests at heart. And a family is much more beautiful than, taking people away from their family. That doesn't happen these days. It's very rare. Thank God. And then you've got if you're lucky, you have a hospital psychiatrist. I was really lucky because I didn't realise at the time that I was never gonna recover. And so my husband and I still really wanted to have a second child. And so because I was planning for a second child and then I was eventually pregnant and having my second child, I got to stay at the hospital with the hospital psychiatrist. And the one that I eventually got, my third one, was a gem. He was just amazing. I was so lucky. He totally had my interests at heart, and I felt like we were a team. It wasn't him imposing stuff and saying you have to do this, you have to do that. He explained everything, and we talked stuff through, and we made decisions together about medicines and whatnot. So yeah, if you have a hospital psychiatrist, after leaving the hospital, try and keep it for as long as possible, because it's really, really helpful to give you all the tools you need to go forward and be as autonomous as possible. And then because what I was just saying, I started planning for having another baby. So I got a special pregnancy midwife for once I fell pregnant again. So her title was basically, she was a midwife that was there for complex pregnancies and complex labours. And when I got admitted to hospital, she was the midwife that my mum talked to that night and said, what can we do? And I was so lucky again. She was such an amazing lady. I had such good treatment at this hospital in Hornsby, the Hornsby Public Hospital. I'm going to name the hospital because it's just so good. But in summary, the main thing I took away from all of this, and the main thing that helped me adjust to it, was to say to myself, it really does take a whole village to raise a family. Yeah, you need to relinquish all the control that you had on your life before you had a child and embrace all the help that you were receiving, because it's this amazing amount of help, and if you use it well, then you're going to have really good tools going forward. Yes, and I think this thing of realizing it takes a whole village, it's not just for people who are unwell, it's anyone having children. The sooner that you realize you can't be in control of everything, the easier it is to going forward. Okay, so a little bit more. That's already starting to talk about getting used to the new normal. But this here now, I've got a few more points about getting used to the new normal once you leave hospital. First of all, you're a mum. Hello? All this shit's just been happening and it's all about you. Well, you have to get used to the fact now that you're a mum. And that's a huge responsibility. And you're a sick mum. Which sucks, but you have to just get used to that. I don't know what else to say. You have a lot of anxiety getting used to everything when you go home from hospital. I think the longer you stay at hospital, the more anxiety you're going to feel going back. Yeah, it's just a lot of things, lots of things changing. So it's really okay and normal that that's what's going to happen. You have to take medicine. Me, I have to take medicine 3 times a day. I tried at the beginning to reduce my medicine and I never succeeded. I am still on the highest dose of medicine, which I've been on since I left hospital pretty much. I tried to change different medications, nothing really worked. But whatever I'm on at the moment, which I won't tell you, is working, but I have to take it 3 days, and I take a lot of medicine. Okay? Yeah. And later I'll talk about the side effects of the medicine, what you can do to deal with some of the more common side effects. Okay, because the side effects is also another thing that you have to get used to with the new normal, right? You have to work with the psychiatrist, and there might be different types of psychiatrists. So I had 3 different psychiatrists. I had the one at the hospital when I was at the hospital, and I've written here, she's like the untouchable rock star. You know, she has her blazer in, and she opens the door, and she sits down and she says, "What's been happening? Okay, blah, 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 bye." And then, like, I think she stays for 5 minutes, and then she's gone. Like, just in, I don't know what was going on. And then, after I went out of the hospital, the first doctor I had, she would not explain anything. She would not let me be involved in any decisions. And when I said I wanted to have a second child, she just cried, but she didn't give me anything helpful. I really found this lady unhelpful as well. Then there was a third one that I've already just mentioned that worked with me as a team to find the best solution for me. And if you get a psychiatrist like that, then you hold on to that one, okay? Because they're looking after you. They're what's going to keep you well as well. Somebody who really cares. Okay, and as I've just already mentioned, but I've written it again, you have to find ways to manage your medicine side effects. We'll go through that on another video. Okay, and you and your partner now have different roles to other couples. We'll discuss this more in the next video too. So the next video is on, where is it? Lost it. That's all right. Sorry, I can't find the right note. I'll find it in a minute. Basically, yeah, when we talk about a day in the life or about the role, what happens later, we'll talk a bit more about you and your partner. But it's a huge thing. Like, so for example, I don't do the mornings with my kids. My eldest, he's nearly 6 now, and I still haven't managed to do the mornings. But I'm hoping to work part-time in a few months' time. I'm hoping I'll do maybe 1, maybe 2 days a week to try and do the mornings with my kids. But it's my husband that does them all the time, and that's not normal, is it? It's usually the mums that do that. So my husband has to be like a mum. And you feel a lot of guilt about this, huge amount of guilt. But you have to just get used to it. Yes, and things change all the time. Things change all the time. You might spend a few months where you can do the mornings. So if you can, well, take advantage, do it while you can. And then you might then fall more sick again, and then you can't do it anymore. But you just do what you can at the time, yeah, and really embrace it. Anyway, I hope this helped for just a little bit of rundown on the key things that happen when you're adjusting to go back home after being at the hospital and after being acutely ill with postpartum psychosis. I hope you've enjoyed this video. We'll see you with the next one very soon. Bye-bye.